It is EThekwini Matters and warm welcome once again. I am Ednick Msweli, your host. Today we are talking issues that have got to do with water and sanitation, as we have invited the head of that unit by the name of Ednick Msweli. You will recall that our city was hit by 2 waves of floods that left a trail of damage. And we have made a huge progress to ensure that we restore that infrastructure. Babu Msweli, warm welcome to EThekwini Matters.
Thank you, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here.
How are you feeling?
It's mixed feelings.
Yeah. I know that you've got a lot in your plate.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, since you are dealing with a unit that is dealing with the issues of water and sanitation.
Yeah. You know, I'm starting to see things that we've been talking about for some time. Yeah, all of us used to talk about climate change. And it was just maybe for me something in a textbook. Yeah. But now I see climate change in reality.
In reality, yeah.
The impact of it.
To an extent that now that we are in the summer season, we don't know. What does summer have in store for us?
We're already anxious. We don't know. I am just hoping we don't get the same heavy rains that we've had that have led us to where we are now.
But we cannot rule it out. Anything is possible now.
Absolutely, absolutely. But
and then regarding the progress that we are making in terms of restoring the infrastructure, how have we fared? I see that we seem to be proceeding in the right direction.
And I think before I even get there, I must say that this level of destruction that we faced is really unprecedented. Yeah. We as a city haven't faced something like this before. Others are saying it's a 1 in 100 sort of a storm and floods. So it's something that happens. That's what it means. It happens once in 100 years. So the extent was huge.
It was huge.
Yeah. So I don't think as a water and sanitation unit we were 100% prepared, and I don't think one can be 100% prepared for something as big as this. But we've done our best. Our guys have really worked hard.
Within a short space of time.
Yeah, absolutely, because the processes that you still work in sometimes are not responsive to the kinds of issues you're dealing with. You still have to follow your SCM processes.
Yes.
Yeah, you still have to get your budgets approved by council.
And this is taxpayers' money.
So you've got to follow all those things. Make sure when all of this is done that you are not in trouble with the HE, for example. So you've got to be considerate and make sure everything is done right. Yeah. And therefore you can't just rush and just do things.
Yeah, because it will catch up with you.
It will catch up with you. Later you have to answer questions.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And sadly, these rains came when we were approaching the winter season.
Yeah. Which we were not expecting.
I mean, which is a clear demonstration that climate change is on us.
That is just unforeseen. So really it has been tough. I think about 2 weeks ago, so maybe 3 weeks, we were visited by the metros. Right. Because I think in the country we have about 8 metros. So all the heads of water from those metros. Yes, we're here. We hosted them. We have a forum. It's called the City Water Managers Forum. Right. Yeah. So when they came, they did their own assessment. We took them to some of the sites. Yeah, where this damage has happened, and they left here just feeling sorry for us that we've
because they've seen what they have been seeing on TV.
Experts in our field themselves from the metros, and they said this is really huge, and they were just wishing us luck.
But some people seem to be not understanding this, because for me, I think you, in your capacity as the head of the unit, you need to be commended for providing outstanding leadership under these difficult conditions. I mean, if you look at the turnaround times with regard to restoring infrastructure, it was out of this world. Well, there are people that will say, it's your job anyway. But considering the challenges that we were experiencing during that period, restoring water, where communities were without water for weeks because of those floods.
No, absolutely. When you are a resident, you judge the performance of the municipality by what happens in your street most of the time. Yeah. So if the water is not restored in my street, the municipality is not working. Whereas if you look at it as a municipality, you then look at how many of those did we have. If there were 500 of those and we fixed 300, it's good performance on our side. But obviously those that are still remaining with the 200 not fixed, they think not enough is being done. And I'm just saying that because of exactly what we were dealing with. If you look at the sewer repairs, we've done a lot, but there's a lot that needed to be done.
There's a lot that needs to be
done. Yes, so it's true that there are still some more that need to be done, and but you have to go through those processes that I was talking about earlier, just so that you then are able to get out there on site and fix them. So we do understand those that feel that not enough is being done. It's because in their neighborhoods where they are, they still see problems. But the message that I would have for them is that we are coming there too, and that ever since April we have been working. Right. We've never rested since that time. But the job is big.
Yeah, Nongala, let's talk about the issue of water rationing, which is something that was also beyond our control. Because remember, we buy water from Umgeni, so if they've got challenges, we are left with no choice but to ensure that we distribute water equitably. Tell us briefly, where are we that? Because remember that we announced it, that we are rationing water because of Umgeni also had its own issues with regard to the issue of floods, where they had aqueducts that were damaged and so forth. Where are we with regard to that?
Yeah, as you say, the whole thing starts at Umgeni water. Yes, they had their infrastructure also severely damaged. 2 of their 4 aqueducts that supply us in Durban. And they had to go through the same challenges that we had to go through in terms of procurement, appointing contractors, and that took time on their side as well, because they too had to comply with that. But I'm happy that their contractors are now on site. They are working. We've been given a date for Aqueduct 1. It's called Aqueduct 1 and Aqueduct 2. Aqueduct 1 should come online by end of December.
End of December. Is that the one that is getting water from Neckel?
Correct. Yeah. So those are called Neckel aqueducts. Yeah, correct. Yeah. So the first one of those will come online end of December.
Okay.
Yes.
So now, meaning that Durban Heights will be having more raw water for treatment coming from that dam.
Was that coupled with the shaft pumps? They also have the pumps that they use. Those pumps are supposed to be backup. If there's a problem with any of the shafts, of the aqueducts. So once one of the aqueducts comes online, then they'll have the shaft pumps to supplement. And they tell us that then it means after December they'll be able to give us a full supply that we are contracted to us.
So which means that to a certain extent we'll have to scale down water rationing.
Yes, in fact we already have. There are some areas that we were rationing before that we are no longer rationing now. Yeah, so there are some areas. Remember, we also don't like rationing. When I say we don't like it, it's because the pipes don't like that. Yeah, you don't like to be switching your water on and off. Yeah. Especially in Durban where your pipes are old. You see, if they're new, maybe they can withstand that a little bit better.
Yeah, but if they are old,
old like ours,
you're gonna have a problem.
So when you turn them on and off, you just are weakening them and damaging them. So where we can stop rationing, we do stop. So
I know that one of the other issues that have worsened our problem was the issue of the decommissioning of Reservoir 3. And I know that there was work that was being carried out by Umgeni. I mean, they put it out possibly towards the end of the year. They should be done. Is it still so?
Yes, it's another end of December target that we've been given. Yeah, they had some legal challenges with that that project, the repairs that were being done there. The appointment was challenged by one of the tenderers. So the matter went to court, we are told by them. So those processes had to take their course. But fortunately the courts then ruled and they were able to then appoint someone. And then that work is also happening.
So once this reservoir is commissioned, how is it going to alleviate our water problems in EThekwini?
It helps. Firstly, you have more storage. Yeah, because they've given them numbers. You've called this one Reservoir 3. Reservoir 3 is the biggest one.
Yeah, it's the biggest.
Of those reservoirs. So when you have that online, it means you've got more storage. If something happens in our system, we don't feel it immediately because we then
more especially on the Durban Heights
yes,
system.
Durban Heights system. So it will continue to supply us.
Yeah.
So at the moment they are supplying us from a smaller reservoir. They call reservoir 2.
Yes.
So once there's a problem, we immediately run out of water.
So that's why many residences feel the pinch as a result of that reservoir being decommissioned.
Correct. So we really are looking forward to December. So there'll be some serious improvements. Yes.
And then Tongati, I know that also there we're about 75% in terms of progress, and indications are that possibly at the beginning of November we should be able to supply water normally.
As you know, in Tongat we've been doing some work there as well, even whilst we work towards the 27th of October target. There was this Mambarit tie-in that had to be done.
Yes, and the one that was done recently.
It's done recently, on the 15th, I think, we commissioned it. So that has brought relief to some parts of Tongat. So because that was supposed to deliver 2 megaliters a day additional water. I know that in reality at the moment we're delivering about 5 megaliters a day. So there are some communities that are already benefiting from that. But in terms of the waterworks itself, yes, the date is, in fact, the correct date is around the 5th. But from the 27th, we will have water able to supply. But you still have to check your quality, check a few things, make sure that the water that you send out meets all our standards. So we'll use those few days after the 27th just to make sure all is in order. And then by the 5th, we start supplying. And we also decided that we'll start supplying Hambanati area first, because at the moment Hambanati can't get any water.
It can't.
No. So for that reason, a decision was made. We must prioritize them when we start.
Okay. Nogal, the other issue that is a problem that we actually need to tackle with speed is the issue of our pumps, sewage pumps. That to a larger extent have contributed to the contamination of our fresh water and then later on our beaches. But I know that what is compounding our woes is the issue of vandalism that we have seen happening in these pumps. Can you tell us briefly where are we? And I remember also that the Sikaulik treatment works was also submerged during the flood. It was damaged completely. Would you want to sketch a picture for us as to how are we looking with regard to those? Because it now also impacts on the issue of tourism.
Correct. No, we are very concerned about that. The impact that the pump stations have had and the treatment works as well. Especially the big one you're mentioning is called Northern Works.
At Sikaulik.
At Sikaulik, So Northern Works is a treatment works, a wastewater treatment works. Next to it, you've got this Johanna Road pump station. And that's a very good example of what vandalism can do, because the Johanna Road problem existed before the floods. We had a pump station there that was supposed to pump the effluent to the wastewater treatment works. But for maybe 2 years now or longer, that pump station hasn't been working.
Because of vandalism?
Because of illegal connections of electricity from the nearby informal settlement. But we've raised that at our own meetings, management meetings in-house. And our electricity unit came on board. They worked with us there, and they've electrified that informal settlement now. So one hopes that because legal electricity is there, that people then would stop to illegally connect. We are hoping for that. But up until now, that hasn't happened. There are still illegal connections. So that pump station is still not working. But we are trying under this program now, Storm Disaster Program, to fix that pump station and the treatment works.
So once that is fixed now, it will to a larger extent alleviate the contamination of Umgeni River.
Northern Works is important because it's the third biggest. Wastewater works that we have after Southern Works and others. So it's got a huge impact on the Umgeni River. And that's why then you have sometimes problems on the beaches. So
and then Ohlanga?
Ohlanga, in fact, we are meeting today when the BAC is deliberating on that today on Ohlanga Pump Station. So I'm hoping for a positive response from them. If that happens, it means by today we would have been able to appoint a service provider.
That will go and fix it.
Then that will go and fix Ohlanga pump station.
So how the communities assist us in ensuring that this infrastructure is protected? Because in reality, we won't be able to have a security guard in each and every pump station. There's many of them. What role should communities play with regard to this? Because this thing is getting out of hand.
They must know that the infrastructure belongs to them, you know, and it's not everyone in the community that does these things, as you know.
Yeah.
It's some bad elements that we have, unfortunately, in our society, that lead us to this thing. But the community must appreciate that these things cost money. When it's vandalized, sometimes it's a theft of a cable. And I don't know, I mean, there can't be too much value in that cable, but the impact of that on the infrastructure and the economy of the city is so huge. And this is what we experience all the time, quite a lot of times. Usually it's just a theft of cables or something small. In that Johanna Road pump station, that one, they completely stripped it. Yeah, everything literally was gone there.
It's gone. Yeah.
It's gone, yeah. So we are even looking at other ways, other designs that would not require us to have that pump station at all. Yeah, so we are looking into that as well.
Because it's not helping.
Yes, because you fix it now. And
then when you turn it back,
it will be there.
It's back to square one.
So, but if I look at the cost of that alternative, it's in excess of 30 million. So it's 30 million you could have saved and done other work with. Now we have to go and spend it there to try and bypass the pump station. So that's the reality of the situation.
And then let's talk about the areas now in the south. The areas such as Makuta, certain parts of Umlazi. They're also battling with water. Could it be because of the increasing number of human settlements in that part of the city, other than the challenge that we're currently having with Reservoir 3 at Durban Heights and so forth? Is that also adding to our problems?
Well, Umlazi those problems comes from this. There's an aqueduct, it's a pipeline. Right. It's called the Southern Aqueduct. Okay. Yeah, it's very big. I think they're more than 900 millimeters diameter. One of them, there's two of them. Yeah. The other one could even be larger than that. So those pipelines were completely rotten again before the storm disaster. So that's not storm disaster related. Right. It's just because we need to fix those pipelines.
And I know it will cost a lot of money.
It costs a lot. That's where I was going, that then the money part comes in. You know. We initially estimated as a city that we thought would require about 450 million to fix
that line.
The two. Yeah, that's what we thought it would cost. But when we realized we don't have the budget, we approached Umgeni Water to say, can you do it on our behalf? And we refund you later. So then they did proper estimates, because ours were really not proper estimates. Yeah. So they've come back with a figure of 893 million. Yeah, so
it's almost $1
billion. My budget for water and sanitation is 900 million. So one project, 900 million is gone. So, but we are starting with the design in the interim.
So that pipe currently has been decommissioned?
So of the two, we are using one. So that's why Umlazi and those areas
are experiencing those problems.
Yes, because we only open water in the mornings. Every evening we close to build up storage. So and then Folweni and Zimbini and all those areas are on the other side of Umlazi. So if Umlazi is struggling, then there'll be no water left for them. But that there's a new pump station called Umbombolo Pump Station. I think you're aware of it. So that would help in bringing water from another direction to the areas like Ntsimbini and Folweni.
So it's not mainly as a result of the mushrooming of human settlements in that, such as your Adams and...
Yes, particularly in Adams, and we hope people from Adams forgive us for saying this, but particularly in Adams, you've got those areas, you've got Umzinyati, these areas where people are building these mansions. Now, our systems were not designed to cater for those mansions. Remember, in the rural areas when we started in the 90s, we anticipated that people would use 200 liters a day. So all your networks, your pipes, your everything is designed for sort of 200 liters a day. That was the standard at the time. And we had, we used to call them ground tanks. So that's what we had. But
and there are also illegal connections.
Illegal connections. These big houses, you've got showers, you've got washing machines. It's just the same as Umhlanga. Adam said Umzingat is the same as Umhlanga now. Yeah, so which means we have to actually go back and upsize our infrastructure. We've got to do that. So that's where the demand comes from. It's just a lifestyle. But you are also correct in that people are moving into those areas. I think there is a pattern whereby people are maybe moving from the cities into the rural areas. That we see, because what we do in water and sanitation is we take pictures of the city every 2 years.
Every 2 years.
Yeah, so you are able to compare
what we had
what you had and what is happening now, and you see the gaps closing all the time, which shows that people are moving into those areas. So that would impact on the available supply.
Is our water clean to drink?
It is very clean. We have labs that are accredited, so they are checked.
So it is safe to drink?
Very safe, unless we tell you it's not. Yeah. And we will never expose our residents to water that we don't trust. Yeah. So once we are in doubt about water quality, we'll immediately issue an alert. An alert. Yeah, to say stop drinking the water. Most of the time we'll say boil the water if there's any doubt. So this is, for example, what is happening in Beachwood. I think there's that area. Beachwood, we had an incident there. Yes, yeah. So we've been monitoring that area. Yeah. I would say the water is fine, but we've decided to be cautious and keep that boiled water alert in that area until we are 150% sure that it's fine now to drink. So that's how cautious we are. But the water that we buy from Umgeni Water is very good. Well, it's the same water that because as a city we don't treat water much. We just distribute. So we distribute water of a very high quality. Yeah. So.
And then briefly, just tell us about this Umkomazi water project, the big dam that I've heard on numerous occasions that plans are afoot to build that dam to also augment our capacity to provide water. But I know that it is going to be very expensive if it happens that it is built. Where are we? What is the plan moving forward? In light of the fact that the population keeps on increasing in EThekwini and it is not stopping. With the current infrastructure, clearly signs are there, showing us that we won't be able to cope. Now, which means that we need to be aggressive in terms of, capacitating our infrastructure to be able to withstand the number of people that are flocking in the city. Just share with us anything about that project.
I think it's correct, and I like how you linking that to the growth in terms of demand. Yeah. Because that will be the last one of the big dams that will be built for our province. So if after that there's no more dams, no more big ones really. Yeah. So which means that we've got to control consumption and demand and try and manage that. So that's the first and immediate reaction that should come from our side as a city, is reduce our demand. Already, as we are now, what have told us before the dam comes in, that they can no longer give us more than what they are giving us, because every year we sign and we review our bulk supply agreement with them. There's an Annexure A where we normally review our projections, our demand projections. So over the next 3 years, they've said, no, we are not able to give you more than what we are giving.
Irrespective of the population?
Yes, they said, no, this is it. So which means we must, as a city, as a resident, and it's an important message, and this one to go out, that we just have to reduce our consumption, all of us. Stop those illegal connections, those that are doing that. On our side as a city, I think we also have to be just more responsive. When residents report leaks, we will have to also respond faster. So we will work on that as well on our side to improve. We already are reacting fast, but I think there's always room for improvement. So that is the context. So the first reaction and the immediate one is that one. I'm saying that because Umkomazi Dam, even if they started now, you're looking at around 2032, 2033 for that to be commissioned. So it's not an immediate solution. But we do need it. Outside of that, we have a deficit in terms of available water to meet demand.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, it's true what you're saying. It's going to cost a lot. That is that's basically what has been happening now. It was just negotiations around the tariffs, how much it's going to cost.
Yeah.
They call it a capital unit charge, the CUC, how much that's going to be.
Yeah.
So that discussion has been happening. But I think it's at an advanced stage now. I think parties have found each other, from my own assessment.
Yeah.
And we are ready, I think, to go soon to council and get it supported by council. Yeah, because our support as a EThekwini is important, because we buy the bulk of the water, maybe 75%, 80%.
How much are we spending per month when we're buying water from Umge?
On average, about 360 million.
Every month?
Yeah, 360 million.
That we spend?
Yes.
Yeah. And the desalination plant that we have is insignificant in terms of water.
The one we have in the bluff, it's too little. Because
it's too little, yeah.
Because we buy about 1,100 megaliters a day.
A day.
From Umgeni water. That's what currently we buy. And that's what they have said they can't exceed anymore.
Yeah.
In fact, they've put it around 1,105.
Yeah.
So that treatment works, the one you're referring to, is the 6 megaliters a day.
It's nothing.
So it's tiny in the bigger scheme of things.
Okay.
But that was a demonstration phase of the technology, which we did with the Japanese.
But that thing is expensive too.
Yeah, so the idea was that after the demonstration phase, then we'll go full scale. There'll be a phase 2, which would then become...
But is it going to be affordable?
About 100 megaliters a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when you compare to surface water, it's still more expensive.
More expensive.
But it's getting to a stage where you have to use what's available.
What is available?
Yeah.
To meet the demand.
Correct.
Yeah. Nongalo, before we wrap up, I think we need to touch on this one. We are also experiencing a lot of problems when it comes to the issue of our manholes clogging. And I know that our teams do respond to these manholes that have been reported to have clogged. But immediately when they turn their back, we go back to square one. And we have got scientific evidence that has proven that the reason why most of our manholes are clogging, it is because of foreign objects entering our system. And it keeps on happening. Yeah. I know that I think it's about, 80% of the reasons are alien objects, that happen to enter our system. What would you say about it?
It's a problem, and I think we maybe need to intensify our education programs. Yeah, because it's not everything that must go into a toilet. Yeah. Because people sometimes think it's out of sight, it's gone, somebody else's problem. Whatever you throw down the toilet,
it's going to create a problem.
Somewhere down the road, it's going to cause a problem. So they do that. Others go into those manholes, they put things in there. We've found, in the past, we've seen getting it to our treatment works babies, fetuses, dead babies. So I don't know, maybe somebody will have flushed a baby or thrown the baby wherever. Those are kinds of things, blankets, everything, bricks you find inside our sewer pipelines. Yeah. And that's exactly what happens. Then you keep going to the same area all the time. In fact, there are areas in the city where we just see this happening a lot. I just don't think I should mention them, but there are areas where this abuse of infrastructure is happening mostly. And we keep going there, but it's a waste of resource. When you're using, it's just a simple thing, when you're using a toilet, really we shouldn't be using newspapers. Yeah, I should be using a toilet paper, because that's how the system is designed.
Because if 6, 7 of us are using a newspaper down the line, it's going to block the system.
It's going to block it. And then I have to keep sending teams all the time. It's money again we could have saved just through using the infrastructure correctly. But
but it means now we need to be very aggressive on educational campaigns so that people are educated about this unlawful conduct. Are there any projects that you'd like to share with us that are underway in the city with an intention of alleviating our water supply challenges that you'd like to share?
I think we've touched on the important ones. You mentioned that reuse. In fact, we haven't touched on the reuse, but that's one of the programs we're working on. because we are now starting to look away from I don't want to call it umgeni water, call it surface water, because they happen to just to be a water board that supplies us. So reuse projects, there are some that are in the pipeline from Northern Works and the commercial treatment works. So we want to reuse that water.
Okay. In simple terms, just explain that. What does it mean?
It's wastewater that becomes cleaned again into potable water standard, so that you can drink it again. Yeah. So I know people think we're drinking wastewater again, but it's proven technology.
It's proven.
It works.
It also happens in other
It's safe.
countries.
Yeah, it's safe.
It's safe.
Yeah. In Durban, it's already happening. Maybe it's not direct reuse. In that there's a treatment that's called Davil. That's owned by Umgeni Water. So they do the same thing. It treats wastewater there. But that water, once it's treated, goes back to Umgeni River.
It can be consumed.
And that's the same river we get our water from. It's safe. It's absolutely safe. Yeah.
So we're looking into those.
We look into those big projects. Regionalizing our wastewater treatment works is another big one that we are looking at. We want to decommission the small treatment works, so have a few of the regional ones.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we have seen also some of our employees embarking on wildcat strikes, hindering service delivery. At some point, I remember they stormed one of our offices at Water and Sanitation. What is it that you would like to say to our employees out there? That in the event that they have got grievances, I mean, violent, wildcat strikes are not going to be a solution, because it impacts negatively to the welfare of our residents or all our stakeholders. Yeah,
I think we need discipline. Because our municipality is very good. There are platforms to raise things when there are issues. When you embark on the process action, it implies that we cannot talk to each other anymore. Yeah. For myself as the head of the unit, I always, most of the time, make myself available when there are issues. Yeah. If I'm told that there's a problem and they tell me come to a depot, which is not often my job, but sometimes I do go, just to say that we're accessible, open door policy. So in an environment like that, there should be very minimal need, if any need, for protest action. Because we don't run away. We are there. We are ready to engage. That's the one reason. The second one is water and sanitation is an essential service. By right, we shouldn't really be striking. Yeah, we should explore other avenues. Unfortunately, it does happen, but it's not something that should be happening. And because it has impact on the residents. If the wastewater guys go on strike, a wastewater treatment works. I'm making an example if that had to happen, but we are grateful that it hasn't gotten to that. A wastewater treatment works is a continuous process. People don't stop flushing. They keep flushing. So if my staff are on strike,
what happens?
What happens? Then you flood the treatment works. You cause all the pollution that we've been talking about. So I encourage that we just work as partners and work together to resolve our issues and not resort to that. It's not necessary in our environment.
And your call centers are not working. That's what they're saying. The public, is that correct?
I hear that sometimes. So usually when I do investigate, the response I get is that sometimes it's just the traffic at that time.
The number of people.
Just the number of people calling, because I think the capacity is limited. But you do know that the city, is working very hard on that issue. There's this thing called CRM. Hopefully when we implement that full scale, maybe we'll see more improvements. It's going to be centralized, maybe efficiencies, there'll be improvements in efficiencies and things like that. But
because customer care is our priority.
Correct, yeah. But I think what is also most important is us addressing whatever people are complaining about, because the traffic also comes from that. If one reports and nothing happens, then somebody else calls again about the same thing, and a third person and a fourth person. And then now you ended up having a lot of people in the queue. And when I call, I have to wait there for 4 hours. Call 20 times, So those systems, I think as part of CRM, we're going to look at
But
that.
there are plans to improve.
Yes, we have to improve
Yeah.
that. Yeah, the
Yeah.
communication so that you can know at any time when where your matter is once you've reported it, and whether what you are reporting has been reported already. So then there's no need for you to get another fault number, and those efficiencies we are working on.
Nongalo, thank you so much for your time and wishing you all the best on the challenges that you are currently facing right now, hoping that you'll be able to turn the corner.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. That was the head of Water and Sanitation, Ubaba Ednick Msweli, painting a vivid picture of the journey that has been traveled to restore the infrastructure that was damaged by the floods that our city experienced at the beginning of the year. We thank you so much for watching, and remember to click the subscribe button so that you do not miss the next episode.